Hi everyone, Sue Matsuki here with another Nightlife Exchange, Sue's Muse, and today my muse is the lovely, the wonderful Deborah Zecher. Hi, thank you for joining me.
My pleasure. Thank you, Sue, for having me.
So Deborah and I have known each other on campus, as I call it, for a while, but I had never seen her work. And then we kind of got to know each other better, even though I had already seen her show, Family Matters, which we're going to talk about, which is coming up again in July. Um, I saw the show. I was so impressed with both her and her beautiful and amazingly talented son, which we will talk about. But then we got to know each other personally because, like most of us in cabaret, we talk to each other going in and out of everybody else's show. And unless we go have coffee, we don't know anything about each other. But we met down at Act Two at Puerto Vallarta for the Cabaret du Festival, which was like a cabaret convention down there. So let's talk about your bringing the show back. First of all, I wanted to ask you on camera, what was the bistros like? This was your first bistro win, correct?
It was incredible when Sherry Eaker reached out to me and said that we were going to be winning a Bistro Award. I had to sit down. I was so excited. I couldn't believe it. I know about the bistros. I can probably recite to you, 50 of the people who have won in the past, but I always thought that that was somewhere off in space, somewhere out of reach. So Joshua and I were so honored when we won, and to have the opportunity to be on that stage with all, not only this year's winners who were incredible, but with several of the winners from the past years because this was the 50th, 40th anniversary.
Yeah.
So a couple of people came to share their great talents with us. So it was an amazing night, an extraordinary experience, and I was particularly honored that Jerry Geddes chose to introduce us. I was really deeply honored by that, by
Yeah.
his words and by his affirmation of our show. So
Well,
the
it's
whole
interesting. Like I always think that the person that's introducing you is the person that kind of fought the hardest for you to get the award because all these reviewers bring things to the table. And yeah, it's a wonderful feeling to know. And Jerry is a hard reviewer. He's a very constructive and honest reviewer. So bump up on that in terms of, his sanction of your show. The
yeah.
show was beautiful. It was this look into relationships. Tell me how the concept came up for you. Where did the concept come from?
So I have been singing with my son since he was a tiny guy, but we never had a chance to do anything in New York. Joshua currently works as a music director and conductor. Actually, he is working on Operation Mincemeat. He is the conductor of Operation Mincemeat, which is currently on Broadway. And at the time that
Wow.
this airs, we will know already whether they won one of their four Tony nominations. Yes, exactly. We are very excited about that. But the show is amazing. And so when I started thinking about doing a show with Joshua, he was, as we say, in between jobs. So he had some time. And the family, sort of the sacred text of our family, other than Jewish sacred texts, is the sound of music. So I knew that it had to have something to do with the sound of music or Richard Rodgers. And then I thought to myself, well, why not our family celebrating the three generations of their family? And in the summer before I did the show, I read Shy, the memoir that Mary Rogers had written with Jesse Green. And I loved it so much. Oh my God. And I am one of those people who just adores Adam Guettel.
Did you know Adam? Did you reach out to him?
No, no. In fact, the only time I've ever had a chance to talk with him is at the master class that May, I believe, that you organized.
Well,
I
that's
went
what I
to
was
that.
thinking. Maybe I can send him a flyer. Maybe if he knows if he's in town, let's see if we can get him to come
Well,
see the. Tell me what is the date of the show in July?
so in July 13th, it's going to be at 7 p.m. at Don't Tell Mama. And it's on a Sunday evening because Joshua's got 8 shows a week, and Sunday night they don't have a performance. So I was able to grab him back. We had done four performances of the show in 2000, I guess 2024. And after the bistros, when we were rehearsing the one song that we sang, I said, "Oh my gosh, we've done one song. Let's do the other 14 and put the show up again."
Yeah.
And I loved doing the show with him. I loved.
What is the song that you chose to do for the bistros?
It's called the Princess Medley. And it's a combination of Stepsister from Cinderella and Happily Ever After from Once Upon a Mattress.
Oh,
For better or worse, Adam had no songs of that ilk, but I was able to sing three Adam Guettel songs. And I love them so much. His music is hard. It's a reach for me. But I find it so deeply
it's a reach for
meaningful.
Kelly O'Hara. It's a reach for the most. I call him the Schoenberg of cabaret. He's just
It's true. It's true.
genius. Yeah, he's
Well,
genius.
there's a story that I tell in my show that, that says that when he started composing, his mom would give him advice, and she'd say, the ear likes to return home at the end of the song, harmonically, thematically. And she said, and I think let me see if I remember the quote. She said, I soon learned that when Adam composes a song, it leaves home, often never to come back again, and it breaks new ground. And that's what
Wow.
he does. He breaks
Wow.
new ground. But
He really does.
Richard Rodgers did that too.
Yeah.
It was, 80 years earlier. And in many ways for me, I'm a big Mary Rodgers fan. Mary did that too. As a woman with five children,
Hmm.
writing for the theater and having a great deal of success, I have such love for this family. And
You know
so,
that piano that's in Adam's apartment when we did it, that's Mary's actual piano. Isn't that beautiful?
well, and he said at that a young woman at that master class sang, oh gosh, June is busting out all over, I think.
Right.
And Adam said, my grandfather composed that song on this piano. And I was
Wow.
like,
I know.
so after during the break, I took pictures of the piano. I loved it.
Going back, you had mentioned, you have a secular background. You were or still are a practicing rabbi?
Well, I am no longer a full-time rabbi. I was a full-time rabbi for 32 years, one of the first 50 women in the country to be ordained, which was very exciting. And I had a wonderful career as a rabbi. I loved being a rabbi. I also served as the cantor of my congregation, so I've been singing a lot.
Mhm.
And I began to do some more secular singing. Every year I would do a fundraiser for the congregation, and I would choose two or three Jewish composers, which is not difficult in musical theater, and celebrate their music and tell their stories. And after about 10 years, I said, I think I need to do this all the time.
Mhm.
And so after 32 years of being a full-time rabbi, I am now a full-time cabaret singer and a part-time rabbi.
And how does being a religious person affect your cabaret life? I mean, you must bring not more soul. We all try to bring as much of our souls to our singing, but there's got to be another level. And even the more seedy side of our industry, how does that affect you as a religious person? Or doesn't it affect you at all? Are there two different personas that happen?
No, and at first I thought there would be, and I was wrong because the authenticity of cabaret is that you bring your whole self.
That's true. Yeah.
And so, what I did as a rabbi, what I do when I still serve as a rabbi, informs everything I do. Maybe I don't do songs that are quite so seedy, but that's not me anyway.
No, yeah.
I'm honest to myself. But where it has played out is that I have done cabaret experiences that have been completely informed by Jewish tradition. So one year, I rented a hall and I put together a High Holy Day service for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And I took some of the American songbook songs and used them instead of the liturgy if they were thematically connected. We have
Hmm.
a prayer that asks for thanksgiving, for gratitude. So I used grateful. I used David Friedman's We Can Be Kind.
Oh,
I used,
wow.
it was so much fun. And I asked several different cabaret singers, Jewish and not Jewish, to choose a song that illuminated one of the themes of the High Holy Days, to sing that song and then to share with us why they chose it. And that was sort of the sermon.
You know
Um,
what, Deborah? You should consider bringing that back and hosting that because Lord knows we need some
well,
positivity and lovely thoughts and generosity with each other. I mean, when are the holy days? In September this year, or
Yes, although I will be working as actually not as a rabbi this year, but as a cantor. I'm going to
okay.
St. Thomas to do High Holy Day services in St. Thomas.
Mm.
But for the last 3 years, I've also done a chocolate Seder cabaret.
A what? Chocolate
Chocolate
as in candy?
as in candy. I translate all of the ritual items of Passover into chocolate, and I have and we have show tunes
Like you do.
like as one does, as I. And then the second half of the program is again a cabaret where I've asked people to sing songs on the themes of redemption and journey and home, the Passover themes. And every year, all the money goes to, this year it went to Act for Trans Equality and for another LGBT organization, because God knows we need to do everything we can
Absolutely.
to
Everything's been
support
cut, all funding.
exactly. So that
It's
I
pride, and I don't see any rainbows. All
know.
the hotels, everything, and now it's just when I see one, I'm like, good for you.
Yes, I
Yeah, it's horrible.
exactly.
Yeah.
So every year it's been a fundraiser, and so we've done it 3 times. So I will do that for sure every year. That has become like a tradition. Yeah, it's really fun.
So I
Um,
wanted to ask you in closing out the interview, as a religious person, as a cabaret singer, as a mom, there's got to have been a mentor or someone that kind of gave you some advice along the way. And is that something that you use to this day? And is it something you could pass on to all of us who are watching this interview? What changed you in some way, or what has stayed in your soul as advice from someone that you respected?
the first year that went to the cabaret convention, when I just moved to New York, I was seated in the fourth balcony. You can imagine how high that was. It was like being in heaven.
What town hall was that? Where was that? Where
No,
was it?
it was at Row. It was at the place it is now.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
But
that is
really
pretty,
high
that's
up.
wicked high.
And a lovely woman was sitting next to me, and we were chatting about how high up we were and whatever. And we started talking, and she told me that she is a cabaret singer and a couple of things about herself. And then I told her that I had just retired from being a rabbi and that I didn't know very much about cabaret, but I knew one thing for sure, that I would never mention the fact that I was a rabbi, that had no bearing on being a cabaret singer. And she looked at me with this beautiful smile and she said, no, actually, and just what I said a few moments ago, cabaret is the art form where you are authentically yourself. And I think that I came with the misapprehension that cabaret was the opportunity to sing show tunes for shows I would never be cast in,
Mhm.
which is also true, probably. But
Well, it's the
but
premise of my show, This Broad's Way. Same
right,
thing.
I
I,
know, I
I
love that.
understand it.
I love that. But this woman's advice, it was like a moment at Mount Sinai. It was like a moment of revelation. And I took that into my heart and my soul, and I never let go of that.
Do you know who she was?
Oh, I'm gonna
Okay. I don't want to ruin your story. Go
no,
ahead.
I could not remember her name. And a year ago, I was commissioned to write an article about becoming a cabaret singer after having been a rabbi for an academic journal, which was amazing because it was 10 years since I'd retired. And I told the story and I really wanted to acknowledge this woman by name. So I put out on the Mac Facebook group and I described what I remembered of her. It was Christine Reisner.
Oh, son of a gun.
And
Wow.
so I reached out to Christine. She did a show a couple of months ago. I went to her show. She got the first copy of the article. And so I have such gratitude to Christine for saying what she said in the gentle and loving way that she did. And of course, that message has been repeated by Lenny Watts, my director, by Lena Katrakis, with whom I've taken some classes, with every other teacher I have had.
Mm.
Um, I love to do cabaret conferences. I did Yale, I did Il Chiostro in Venice, I did Fiesta. I love being with people and learning in a concentrated way. And every single time I've gone somewhere, that has been the meta message about what it is to sing cabaret. Be yourself.
Yeah.
Be
It sounds
authentic.
like Christine was kind of in the moment, an angel on earth,
I
like
agree.
that kind of like, oh, I'm supposed to listen to this. This is really important,
She
right?
was my guardian angel in that moment. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, how
That's
lucky have I been?
wonderful advice. Christine, thank you on behalf of all of us. Yes, as as a cabaret teacher myself, it's so important. And you can see like my favorite shows, the reason why I liked your shows Family Matters so much is because one, there was that layer of the relationship with with the family and your family and the interdisbursement of all that, but there was an authenticity in your energy with Josh on stage as a family, honoring a family. So give us the dates one more time.
July 13th, 7 p.m. Sunday at Don't Tell Mama, and we would love to see everyone there. We'd love to share the show
Don't
with
miss this show.
you.
It's
Thank you.
fabulous. So thank you so much for spending some time with me, Deborah. I really appreciate it.
Thank
And
you too.
y'all out there, until next time, have a great day, everyone.
Bye.
Take care.